So whether you're new to my channel or you've watched me for years, it shouldn't come as any surprise to you that my least favorite Halloween movie is Halloween Resurrection. But in the spirit of fixing things, today I want to offer up my ideas for how you fix Halloween Resurrection. Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Halloween Resurrection. And more specifically, I want to talk about the things that I think could have been done that would have fixed this movie and actually made it watchable. Now, some of you guys might have heard that and gone, oh, well, I find it watchable. It's so dumb, it's fun. Fair. I really can't argue with that. If you have a good time with this movie, no shame. I have a great time with Jason X, and that movie is stupid. So I totally get it. We all have those kind of movies. But I think it is inarguable that Halloween H2O, whether you loved it or hated it, was definitely a better movie. And if you were gonna make a sequel, making a sequel to that movie was a good place to start. That had a good foundation built. Unfortunately, Halloween Resurrection went a totally different direction. So the first fix for Halloween Resurrection is rather simple. You do not kill Laurie Strode, at least not in the way that they did. I'm not opposed to killing her at the end of this movie in some epic finale showdown between her and Michael where they die together. I'm actually fine with that. But introducing her just in the first 10 minutes of the movie to kill her off and having her character be so stupid and not at all the Laurie Strode we had come to know and love, it was just insulting. Now I get it, Jamie Lee did not want to come back for this movie, she was contractually obligated to, and this wasn't a situation where like 15 years later she started talking bad about this movie. No, she pretty openly talked bad about it not long after it came out. She's never been a fan of it and she didn't want to be a part of it. But I just think if you're going to bring Jamie Lee back, you've got to do more justice to the Laurie Strode character. And I would argue that Jamie Lee probably would have done a bigger role if it would have been more of a true sequel to Halloween H2O. If it would have had a better script. I mean, we can't know. Hindsight's 2020. But the first fix is absolutely not killing Laurie Strode in the first act of the movie and making that character unrecognizable from the one we'd seen for years prior. The next thing that could fix Halloween Resurrection, including John Tate, bringing back Josh Hartnett. Now, I know, some people are going to go, well, Josh wasn't going to come back. He was a big movie star or was on his way to becoming a big movie star. And you're absolutely right, but I don't think it would have been totally out of the question. Again, with maybe a better script, with a truckload of money, you could have worked something out to get him back. But even if you didn't, just for argument's sake, it would have made this movie better. See, whether you hated H2O or not, I actually think John was a pretty well-written character, and Josh Hartnett did a good job. I actually think it's scary how much him and Jamie Lee look like they could be related, so it was just perfect casting, and I really liked their chemistry. So the fact that he's written out of Resurrection entirely, there's not even a mention of him aside from a quick shot of a photo of him on Jamie Lee's desk, is just, again, kind of insulting. It would have felt much more like a sequel building off of that movie if we had characters return from that movie, and we'll get to another one later. But I just think they should have done something with John. Even if it was as simple as like a cameo, he shows up at the end, he's integral to the plot somehow, he's mentioned throughout, we get nothing. This character that was our second lead, our co-lead of that last movie, he's gone, whatever, who cares, we don't talk about him. It's lame. The next fix for Halloween Resurrection, and something I've felt, I think, since the first time I saw the movie, if you're going to do this plot with Jamie Lee having killed the wrong person and her being institutionalized, have the whole movie take place in the sanitarium. Have this be a la Halloween 2, where Michael Myers is stalking through this sanitarium on his way to Laurie Strode and a final showdown, where, again, maybe they die together. But the idea of this taking place in that setting and being confined to those walls is actually something really interesting. It's one of the highlights of Halloween 2. There is a sense of claustrophobia there. How lonely and deserted that place is, but how big it is as well. It's just ironic and so much like our characters are trapped and there's nowhere to escape. I love that. It also feels like the perfect hunting grounds for Michael Myers. He's stalking his prey through an area where they cannot get away from him. I love everything about that. Now, I'm not saying it would have made the movie good, but would it have made it better than what we got? Yeah, probably, because Jamie Lee would have been a main character that would have appeared throughout the movie. And then furthermore, you don't have the entire back half of this movie take place at all. There's just none of that cringe, awful, ripping off Blair Witch Project bullshit. So, if this was the route you were going to go, at least to some degree, it should have all taken place in the sanitarium. The next fix for Halloween Resurrection, and this one might be a little controversial, so hear me out here, is you do not give the explanation whatsoever that Michael switched uniforms with the paramedic. Now, you might be going, well, he got his head cut off, dude. He was dead. They couldn't make a sequel if that were the case, right? I mean, I don't know. Did you see the end of Halloween 2? He was pretty freaking dead by any human standards. And he showed up 20 years later in H2O. I also think that just makes the character scarier. I want to ask you a question, like genuinely think about this. What is dumber to you? A character that up to this point we have pretty much accepted as unkillable even if he is technically a human, coming back with no explanation yet again, or getting the explanation that we do? It's dumb. Like, it's all around dumb. I understand that they had thought about this years prior, but like just looking at the performance of Chris Durand in that moment in the finale of Halloween H2O, that is Michael Myers. That's not a paramedic. Like, that's just, no. I've never been able to stretch believability enough to believe that. And again, we're at the 8th movie in this series. So at the time, if you would have told me he just showed back up again and there's no rhyme or reason to it, I would have just accepted it. If anything, it would have made me lean more into the, okay, he's supernatural side of things. And I'd rather that than the dumbass explanation that we get that really just, it cheapens everything about the end of H2O. Now, based off of the things I've already said, you're probably like, oh, well, he hasn't talked about Busta Rhymes or Dangertainment or anything like that. Well, yeah, because with the proposed fixes I've already given, that would have wiped all of that out. There's no Dangertainment, there's no Busta Rhymes character, there's no head cams walking around the Myers house trying to find secret clues to why Michael did what he did. No, that's all gone. Because if this takes place in the sanitarium, that doesn't happen. The next fix for Halloween Resurrection, you get a different Michael. And that just kind of goes across the board with everything to do with Michael in this movie. Look, the mask looks like this dude was at a My Chemical Romance concert like right before he showed up. And I love MCR, don't get me wrong. I was an emo kid when I was a teenager, but like I don't need Michael Myers looking like that. Secondly, Brad Laurie's performance is so stiff, so robotic. People talk shit about Dick Warlock in Halloween 2, and I understand some of the gripes. It's not even a close comparison with Brad Laurie. Brad Laurie is easily my least favorite Michael Myers portrayal. Like, him and Chris Durand, like, they're right there. It's just like, my God, you guys did not get the character at all. This guy walks like he has 25-pound feet, and he just looks like he has a stick up his butt the whole time. Like, I just don't get it. I don't like anything about his portrayal of Michael. And while I didn't even like the portrayal of Michael in H2O for the most part, this doesn't even feel like a continuation of that. It's even worse. It's just bad. They should have totally gone a different route. I understand that most, if not all of this movie shot in Canada, and he was a Canadian stuntman, so it just kind of worked, but like, can we not? Like, let's just admit it. He's a bad Michael. And the final fix that I want to propose for Halloween Resurrection, giving the parameters I've already set up, is more of the original score. Now, if we're going off of what I've already talked about, you've got a movie centered around Michael and Laurie Strode again. You've got it taking place in a sanitarium, very akin to Halloween 2. It is much more of another reunion, another anniversary film. It is a personal story. So if that being the case, we could integrate Laurie's theme again. We could integrate the shaped stalks again. And it would work perfect because it was Rick Rosenthal, the director of Halloween 2, directing Halloween Resurrection, serving as a throwback to Halloween 2 and an homage in many ways. I would have even loved if they brought back that over-synth score from Halloween 2. You could have just done it and it would have been chef's kiss and it would have been perfect. Because I've said for many years, I actually don't hate Danny Lux's version of the Halloween theme that's used in this movie. However, it's just like all we get. We don't get any of the original themes throughout this film. Because I get it, they don't really fit all that well into this modern, hip, internet reality show story. But if we weren't going that route, and we had it a much more personal story with a character we've come to know and love for 2 decades, I think the original themes would have worked perfectly. Alright, so that's it. Did you catch all that? Those are the things that I would do with Halloween Resurrection if I was given this script and this idea, and I had to work off of what we already had established. Now, understand, if I had my druthers, I wouldn't have done like anything they did. But I have to be fair and say, okay, well, Jamie Lee was going to come back as Laurie and she was going to be in a sanitarium. If that's the case, where do you go from there to make a good movie? I think the things I laid out would have at least made Halloween Resurrection passable. Maybe it's like the light beer version of Halloween 2, but a light beer every now and then isn't bad. I would have honestly taken that to the steaming pile of dog shit that we ended up getting. But that's just my opinion. These are just my fixes given what we were faced with. I want to know what you guys think of the fixes that I proposed. Do you think it would have made Resurrection better? Or do you think absolutely not? There's nothing that could have saved that dumpster fire. Whatever it is, I want you to let me know, so sound off in the comments section below. I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.